few years ago, when we had this crazy hot market, there were no incentives being offered by builders. If anything, there were bidding wars on lots, and they were releasing stuff a little bit at a time. You had these massive delays because of COVID. Like, it was just a miserable time trying to get those properties sold. And like I said, even when we were getting them under contract, just getting them to the closing table, it was a push every step of the way. Now we're starting to see a lot more incentives being offered, a lot more opportunities for buyers out there. And so if your personal finances are such that you're in a position to be able to purchase, now's the time to go ahead and do so. Now's the time to go ahead and pull the trigger. I can definitively say the incentives that I have seen for new construction these days are better than just about anything I've seen in the years that I've been in this business, right? Like, we're seeing. Welcome to the Home Goals Podcast, the ultimate guide for turning your home goals into a reality. I'm your host, Derek Thornton. Join us as we navigate the twists and turns of obtaining a home. We'll be offering expert tips, helping you avoid pitfalls, and championing your journey towards that cherished place to call home. In this week's episode, we'll be discussing one of the trending topics that I've seen in real estate as of late, and that is the new construction craze, right? You know, a lot of buyers are starting to look more into that, and as affordability continues to be top of mind in our discussions, interest rates continue to be high in our discussions, there's a lot of buyers out there who are wary about going the route of a resale home and having the potential of immediate repairs that might come up, issues that might happen with that home, and they're opting to just say, hey, we'll wait to see if we can find some new construction options that work better for us, right? It's move-in ready, everything's brand new. Out of the box, you're not having to worry as much about those upfront repairs and problems that are common when people are purchasing homes as well. And you also have warranties that are often in place to help cover you, at least in that initial phase upfront for that first year or so. And so it's something that we're seeing a lot more people start to go that route, at least for the pool of buyers that are in the market right now. And now more than ever, I'm starting to see way more incentives as well, whether that comes to closing costs or being able to buy down your rate. There's a lot more incentives that are being offered to the buyers who are looking to possibly go that route and determining whether or not that's the right fit for them. And so I wanted to talk through just some of the things that we're seeing out there as well, and things to watch out for. As with any decision that you make, there's always going to be pros and cons, and so we'll discuss a little bit more about those as well. But for most of the new construction out there, it's really just figuring out whether or not that's one in the location that you're looking to purchase, right? Depending on what area you're in or depending on what area you're looking, there's usually a lot less land to go around, and there's oftentimes people who are looking for options that give them the ability to be able to be near a lot of the things that they would like to do, right? Have the location that they want, but if they can get new construction, even better. The affordable options, at least in the triangle market, we're having to push further and further out, right? So you're seeing a lot of areas on the outskirts of the triangle that are really starting to boom, right? You look at the Zebulon, you look at Wilson, you look at Clayton, right? All these different areas that have a ton of new construction options popping up all around, and it could be a potential that it's the right fit for you, right? It's just figuring out whether or not that's what you are looking for in a house. Now, again, builders and new construction, they're having a lot of the same problems that we as resale homes or resale homes that are on the market, they're having the same problem in the sense that it's less and less buyers who are ready to make that move just yet. A lot of times are waiting for rates to come down, waiting for pricing to come down a little bit, and it's kind of a standstill for a lot of people that are out there. And so many of the builders have halted kind of building mass-producing homes that are available and ready for you to purchase right now, right? Because they don't want to get caught up in the same issues that they had back with the Great Recession, where they had a ton of inventory that was ready and able for buyers to move into, but no one was in the market, right? So they had all this inventory sitting, and it caused a lot of issues, right? And so they're cautious now of having a bunch of just active inventory available and sitting with no buyers in sight, right? And so now they're kind of a little more cautious, building a little slower as well, and only having like a few homes that are ready and able. But the homes that are actively on the market and available, those are still sitting as well. And so now they're offering a ton of incentives and options out there, options for you to be able to buy down your rate, options for you to get a ton of closing costs. More times than not, usually with new construction, they will do everything possible to avoid having to come down on the price, right? So if the price is, let's say, 475 or something, they're going to do everything possible to keep that purchase price at that main list price. And then offer a ton of incentives as opposed to doing that, right? So they may say, hey, if you pay $475 or pay that full list, we'll give you $20,000 in incentives or in closing costs if you use our preferred lender, our preferred attorney. They may offer to give appliances, blinds. They'll throw in all kinds of things or all kinds of incentives, but they want to make sure that they keep that price right at or even a little bit above, if they can, that list price, because they don't want that to hurt their marketability or what they can sell the other properties for. And speaking as someone who is purchase, or if you're purchasing in that area, you want them to hold firm on that pricing, right? The worst thing that you want to see as a new construction buyer is for you to move in and then the builders start slashing the prices of the homes in the area, because then that's automatically negatively impacting your home's value, your home equity as well. And so you want them to hold firm in a sense, right? Now, obviously, you're still going to try to get as much as you can in those initial negotiations, but just understand that they're oftentimes going to be far more firm on their list price than this a traditional seller for a resale home. Builders are usually going to stand flat-footed on that and try to offer other ways to entice you or to make that offer more attractive to you, especially when you look at the money that's being given out for you to be able to buy down rates. That's one of the more effective ways to be able to entice buyers to be able to get in the house. And there's a lot of resale homes that have started taking that same approach as well and saying, hey, we'll offer you closing costs as well for you to be able to get in here, get a cheaper rate. You can buy it down to kind of get it a little bit lower so that the numbers make a little bit more sense for you. But new construction, like I said, always has the benefit of being able to offer you a brand new product. Now, there may be people who, if you're sitting there thinking to yourself, like, okay, if you have two similar priced houses or two similar priced homes, why would anyone ever go the route of resale? Well, there's still a lot of advantages to getting a resale home that most people may not take into account, right? So you have a home that oftentimes is in an established area, an established neighborhood. It's usually in a prime location because, again, if the location is a really hot spot, that means that they've oftentimes tried to build up as much as they possibly could in that area, right? That's one of the reasons why Cary is almost built out, right? Because it's so popular that they're taking up every piece of sliver of land that they can possibly get their hands on to put a house up there, right? So if you got a wonderful location, they're usually going to have houses that are already resale properties available in that market. But also on top of that, usually when you have an established neighborhood, you know what you're getting into, right? You know that this neighborhood has a steady history of a certain amount of appreciation. You can be able to tell, like in the past, what has often helped or hurt values in that area, whether or not the homeowners have been able to keep up their appearances, keep up their lawns, keep up their properties, all these things that impact your valuations. You have some historical data that you can actually focus on to get a better idea of how that home is going to perform, just as from a value or from an investment standpoint. You want to be able to see, okay, I know based on the past 20 years, this neighborhood steadily increases in value 3 to 4% every single year. And I know that even in down markets or down times, I can see clearly how this area or how this neighborhood performs. You don't have that data to go off of when you're working with a new construction home. And so a lot of times resale homes tend to build equity faster than a new construction home. And that can be very important, especially in today's market where we have the affordability issues. That can be very important for you if you are in any type of a situation where you feel like there's a possibility that you could be moving in the very near future. I usually tell people who are in that position, it's usually better for you to go the resale route, right? If there's anything that makes you think like, I don't know, maybe I could get a job relocation, or I don't know, like I could end up working remote or could up going to a different place, or my spouse has a job that could be really well move them to a different area. Anytime those questions start to come up, I'm always going to tell you, you might want to consider resale, just for the mere fact that, again, equity often builds faster in a resale home or in a resale neighborhood. And not only that, but you also have to take into consideration that with new construction, a lot of times they're still building in those areas when people are purchasing homes. And so you also don't want to end up in the position where you purchase and then find out within a year or two, oh my goodness, I got a job relocation, or I got something else where I need to move. And now not only are you having to put your home back on the market, not necessarily having built up the equity that you hoped you would have at that point, but you're also competing with all of the other new construction inventory that's still being built in that area, right? And so you're saying, hey, would you like to buy my house slightly used, but it's only a matter of a few dollars difference in your monthly payment if you buy brand new competition that's right in your neighborhood, right? And so it makes it very difficult for you to turn around quickly and be able to sell that home and make any type of a profit. That's a problem that you're going to deal with across the board. Even my clients who are purchasing resale homes, I tell them, hey, the way the market is right now, I would not expect for you to make any type of significant push or nudge in your equity in a positive manner for the next several years, right? Like I would say even for like the next maybe 5 to 7 years, I would estimate, or my guess at least would be in this area, that what you purchase at now, that's likely what it's going to be worth several years down the road from now. Like I said, we've reached a point where we had just this massive market explosion. All these house prices went up. It was not sustainable for us to continue at that trajectory. We had to kind of have some things come down to pull the inventory and the prices back to a more realistic level. But even then, it's still not going to be rising at a pace. It just can't work. Whatever. There's a lot of people who are just priced out of the market, and if they don't have any options available, their only option or only course is just to kind of stand pat and wait, at which point house prices are going to have to remain stagnant. Now, the inventory still hasn't caught up to what we need it to, and so I think that's what's going to help keep the prices for the current homeowners. That keeps their prices stable, but I just don't see it continuing to rise up quickly for the next several years. And so I've prepared people for the fact that, hey, just understand that when you go to purchase, you're likely going to be, if you say 5 years from now, I'm looking to sell my house, is likely going to be right at the same price that you purchased at, right? The majority of your equity is going to be coming from whatever you use to pay down your mortgage or pay down your loan. That's going to be the primary way that people are building equity. It has less to do with the market, more to do with you paying down your mortgage. And that's all the more case when you talk about someone who is purchasing new construction, right? And so that's why it could be beneficial for you to, if you are going to go that route, try to find an option that is offering a ton of incentives. And instead of using those incentives to pay down for certain upgrades or pay for certain features in the home, focus more on how can I use this to help the valuation or help the equity that I have in this home, right? I'm going to focus more, instead of having those really nice blinds or that really expensive package for appliances that they have in the home and that they're offering to give in the home, I would rather go and do that on my own, get it at a cheaper rate, but then also I'm going to use the funds that the builder's giving me to pay down my mortgage rate or pay down my interest rate, use it to find ways to help the valuation of my home. Now, the closing costs that they're giving, those are not allowed to go towards your down payment, right? So again, remember we talked about this in past episodes, but your down payment and your closing costs are completely separate. So if you have let's say a 5% down payment, the closing cost is completely separate from that. The closing cost, that's the fee that you're paying the lender. That's what you're paying the attorney. That is what you're paying for the taxes for that year. All those different things that are included in addition to the down payment. That's what the closing costs are. And the money that the builder is offering or that the seller is offering, whether it's 20, 30,000, whatever it may be, those funds are just for closing costs. Those are not to go towards your down payment. So I don't want you to think like, oh my goodness, like they're giving $30,000. I can use that towards my down payment and not have to bring anything really to the closing table. No, you still have to find ways to bring that down payment, but you can benefit yourself by using those again towards helping out with closing costs. And I have found lenders who will find all kinds of creative ways to spend that money, right? They might say, hey, let's pay for a full year of your HOA dues up front, or hey, let's find a way to add in another feature or something like that. But more times than not, if you could figure out a way to maximize those funds to make sure that it benefits the equity that you have in that home, that's going to be the best thing. And one of the most effective ways for you to do that as far as closing costs are concerned is paying down your interest rate, because then you have a larger portion of your funds that's going towards paying down your principal and building up your equity, right? And so finding a way to make sure you're using all of the benefits that the builder is offering to your full advantage. A few years ago, when we had this crazy hot market, there were no incentives being offered by builders. If anything, there were bidding wars on lots, and they were releasing stuff a little bit at a time. You had these massive delays because of COVID. Like, it was just a miserable time trying to get those properties sold. And like I said, even when we were getting them under contract, just getting them to the closing table, it was a push every step of the way. Now we're starting to see a lot more incentives being offered, a lot more opportunities for buyers out there. And so if your personal finances are such that you're in a position to be able to purchase, now's the time to go ahead and do so. Now's the time to go ahead and pull the trigger. I can definitively say the incentives that I have seen for new construction these days are better than just about anything I've seen in the years that I've been in this business, right? Like, we're seeing just an exorbitant amount of closing costs being offered, all kinds of incentives and ways to entice buyers out there. And so if you are in a position where that's something that you're considering, I would absolutely say now's a good time to do it. Right now, again, you still need to make sure that you have your realtor alongside to help you through that process. As I've said before in past podcasts, you need to understand that the person who's often on site for those new construction communities, they, as nice as they may be, they also represent the seller. They represent the builder, and they can help you. But at the end of the day, if anything goes wrong in that transaction or that deal, their loyalty is always going to revert to the seller, the person that hired them. And so you need to understand that coming into the situation, that you need someone fighting for you in your corner. You need someone helping walk you through the process, ask the right questions, understand exactly what's at risk and what you need to do to make sure you're in the best position possible. These builders, a lot of them have their own contracts that are different from the standard ones that we often use for resale homes. And every builder has a slightly different contract. And so you need to be able to have someone who can look through that contract for you, help you understand if there's anything that you need to know, and keep you from making those mistakes along the way. And so these are all just things to keep in mind, but I wanted to make sure I took some time to talk a little bit more about the new construction process again, because we're starting to see a lot more people go that route, understandably, because they don't want to have to worry about that water heater or the HVAC breaking down as soon as they move in, and they just spent every penny they had just trying to get into the house to begin with. They don't have to worry about that. They want moving ready. They want something that's locked in, a sure bet, and good to go. And so again, to make sure that you understand the pros and cons of it, understanding what's at risk, how long you're going to need to wait to really get your money back on those deals, and you're going to be in the best position possible. So I hope that that's helpful for you all. Have a wonderful week. I'll talk to you next time.